It's almost springtime in the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina, and I can't wait to get back on the trail. And I'm sure all of you watching are eager to do the same thing. So that's why I decided to make a top 10 hikes in North Carolina video for 2025. All these hikes are hikes that I've done, and I'm going to run through all the information that you should need for all these hikes. Now, before this video starts, I do want to say that I am aware, of course we all are aware, that Hurricane Helene damaged these mountains very badly a few months ago, and I would definitely make sure to double check if trails are open and if roads are open to these trails, and also make sure that you're not getting in the way of the cleanup process for all the damage that the hurricane did. But with all that said, let's jump in to number 1, Grassy Ridge Bald from Carver's Gap. This is a hike that I've absolutely loved and I've done multiple times on this channel. It straddles the North Carolina and Tennessee border, and it's one of the most popular hikes in the state. The hike from Carver's Gap to Grassy Ridge Bald is around 5 miles, and it has an elevation gain of 1,079 feet, and it should take you around 2.5 hours to complete. Now, I do want to say that these time estimates can vary because everybody hikes at their own pace, but this is just the average. As you can see, this hike is absolutely stunning. As it says in the name, Grassy Ridge Bald, you're hiking on bald mountains with no trees. So you get 360 views pretty much the whole hike. Before you get to Grassy Ridge Bald, you have 2 more balds that you will hike over. The first one's Round Bald, standing at 5,807 feet, and then you have Jane Bald, which is also 5,807 feet above sea level. Then after that, you'll make a fairly steep but easy climb up to Grassy Ridge Bald that's at an elevation of 6,165 feet. At the top, you'll find a plaque with some information and obviously some amazing views. You'll be able to see all the way into Tennessee and North Carolina. This hiking trail is pretty well maintained, although it can get muddy at times, and in the summer, it's a great place to take the family and have a picnic. The next hike on our list is Crabtree Falls. This hike is right off the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it's fairly short at 2.6 miles. You'll have 577 feet of elevation gain. This hike should only take you around an hour and a half to complete and is well worth the effort because, as you can see, this waterfall is completely stunning. It is probably one of the most picturesque waterfalls in the state, and I highly recommend checking it out if you're on the Blue Ridge Parkway. I would double check though if the Blue Ridge Parkway is open. In the wintertime, they close it due to weather, and also they can close it due to maintenance, and that's the only way to really access this trail. The next hike on our list is Table Rock and the Chimneys in Linville Gorge Wilderness. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I love the Linville Gorge, and this is probably one of the most beautiful hikes in the whole entire wilderness. When it's not winter, Table Rock actually has its own parking lot that you can drive up to, and it makes the hiking way easier because if it's closed, you have to hike a 2-mile road all the way up, and it's pretty steep. Trust me, I've done it. It's not worth it. But if the parking lot is open, it's about 1.5 miles to the Chimneys one way and about another 1.5 miles to Table Rock the other way. I typically do both in one day because they're both really short hikes, and they're well worth it. The Chimneys is such a unique landscape and very, very beautiful, and you have amazing views of the gorge. Table Rock is more of a climb than the Chimneys, but it is well worth it because you get 360 views when you get to the top. If you were taking your time, you could probably do both of these hikes in 2 hours, and the trails are pretty well maintained, and I highly recommend that you check out both of these hikes if you're in the area. The next hike on our list is Rainbow Falls in Gorges State Park. This waterfall is absolutely humongous, and it's so beautiful, as you can see, and the reason it's got its name is because if the sun is out, you'll actually see rainbows in the waterfall. It's very beautiful. The hike is about 3.9 miles down, but as you hike the trail, there's also little pull-offs and swimming holes on the way to the main waterfall, so if it's warm enough, you can take a swim. The elevation gain on this trail is 770 feet, and it should probably take you around 2 hours to complete. Next hike on our list is Hawksbill. We're going back to Linville Gorge for this one, and this is probably the most popular hike in the gorge. It's 2.1 miles long, and it has an elevation gain of 682 feet. It should probably take you around an hour and a half to complete if you didn't stop and enjoy the view at the top, but let me just say that I don't recommend that because, as you can see, this view is amazing. It's actually my favorite view of the whole entire gorge and probably is the best view in the whole gorge. You get 360 views and you get a good view of Table Rock and the chimneys. If you're going to Linville Gorge, do Hawksbill. It's probably the best hike in the gorge. The trail is well maintained. It's pretty steep, but it's fairly short. Next hike on our list is Sam's Knob from Flat Laurel Creek Trailhead. The trail is pretty short. It's 2.5 miles out and back. The elevation gain is 564 feet. It should probably take you an hour and a half or 2 hours to do. And once you get to the top, you have amazing views. Probably some of the best views of the mountain range. If you were planning on doing some backpacking this summer, I highly recommend Sam's Knob because there are several campsites at the top to choose from. Highly recommend checking out Sam's Knob if you're in the area. Just like Crabtree Falls though, I would make sure that the Blue Ridge Parkway is open before you drive all the way out there to do this hike. Next hike on our list is Moores Knob Loop. This is the only hike on the list that is not in the Appalachian Mountain Range, and it's closer to the Piedmont region of North Carolina. It's located in the Sorrowtown Mountains in Hanging Rock State Park. This is one of my favorite trails ever in the whole entire state, and that's because it's not as well known. Pretty much every time that I've hiked this trail, there's nobody at the top, and if you cannot tell already, the top of Moores Knob is absolutely insane. There is a lookout tower up there and you get 360-degree views in every single direction, and you can see the whole state park. The hike is 3.7 miles long and the elevation gain is 967 feet. It's fairly steep, but I do think that it's worth it. It can take you up to 2 or 3 hours to do this hike depending on your pace, and the top is just an amazing place to hang out and have a picnic. So if you're in the Winston-Salem area or you're just in the Piedmont of North Carolina and you don't want to make the drive all the way out to the rest of these hikes, I highly recommend that you check out this trail. The next hike on our list is Flat Top Tower from Cone Manor. This is a hike that I just discovered about a year ago, and I've been back a few times ever since. It's such an amazing little trail. It's very gradual, very smooth, and well maintained. And the whole Cone Manor has tons of trails, not just to Flat Top Tower. It's also right off the Blue Ridge Parkway, and it's a great stop if you're driving through. The hike is 5.1 miles out and back. The elevation gain is 593 feet, and it should take you around 2 hours to complete. It is right outside the town of Blowing Rock, and also the town of Boone is not too far away either. As it says in the name Flat Top Tower, there is a tower at the top. If you have the guts to climb up this metal tower, you're greeted with 360-degree views. The last time I was there, I actually trail ran this trail, and it was just an amazing experience because you're going through all these meadows and wildflowers all the way up to the top. I highly recommend checking out this trail. The next trail on our list is Callaway Peak via the Grandfather Trail. This is also another hike that is right off the Blue Ridge Parkway and is located in Grandfather Mountain State Park. Grandfather Mountain is my favorite mountain in the state, and you can see why. This mountain is absolutely beautiful. Now, there is a fee to get to the trailhead of this hike. You can access the top of Grandfather Mountain from other trails that are free, but the reason I picked this trail is because of these. As you can see, this trail is not for the faint of heart. It's pretty grueling, and I don't recommend taking kids on this trail, but if you're seeking adventure and some thrill, this trail has got you covered. The Grandfather Trail is 4.3 miles long, and the elevation gain is 1,568 feet. This hike can take you up to 3 hours depending on your pace, and like I said, this trail is pretty rough. I wouldn't recommend bringing any kids. I definitely don't recommend bringing any pets because this terrain is no joke. The next and last hike on this list is Linville Falls. That's right, we're going back to the Linville Gorge for the last pick on this list. Linville Falls is probably my favorite waterfall that I've ever been to. Of course, because it's located inside of Linville Gorge, but also because it is absolutely breathtaking. It's such a unique looking waterfall, the way that the water rushes out of the cliff face and plunges into a deep basin. There are two ways to view this waterfall. There is the upper falls and the lower falls, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to be talking about the lower falls because that's my personal favorite way to view this waterfall. waterfall. As you hike the trail down to the lower part of the falls, you'll first stumble upon a viewing platform that overlooks the basin and the waterfall. This part of the trail is very easy to get to, and I think everybody watching this video can do it. But if you're a little more adventurous, you can hike down to the base of the waterfall. It's fairly steep and you do have to climb over a bunch of roots, fallen trees, and boulders, but once you're down there, you're met with a stunning view. The hike down to the base of the waterfall is 1.7 miles with an elevation gain of 508 feet. This hike can take you anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to do, and if you're already in the Linville Gorge doing any of these other hikes, then I highly recommend you check out Linville Falls as well. Guys, that is my top 10 hikes for North Carolina. Hopefully this season you can get out on trail and check out some of these hikes. Again, beware of trail closures, road closures, and just don't get in the way of anybody that's trying to clean up the trails or just clean up the mess. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and let me know what your top hikes in North Carolina are. With all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next adventure. Peace.